and welcome to a Spring Snowflake podcast. My name is Sophie and I haven't done one of these sit down videos in a while, but I thought, New Year. I do this every year. New Year, we're going to get in front of the camera. I actually have a plan to continue doing these videos more regularly in 2025, but I will tell you about that in a different video. I am coming to you from a fairly miserable and very cold Oxfordshire in the south of England. You can find me on my website, which is spring-snowflake.co.uk, on Facebook and also on Instagram. I also have a Ravelry page and a page on Lovecrafts, and obviously here on YouTube. And I think that's about it. As I said, my name is Sophie. I am the host, owner, designer, teacher, general crafty person, otherwise known as a Spring Snowflake on the internet. And today's video, I am basically going to do a standard podcast. There are a number of videos that I'm planning to film either today or this weekend. It is Saturday the 4th of January right now. We'll see when I get this edited and up. I'm hoping this one will be the first one that goes out for the 4 that I have planned to film over the next few days, but the rest will come out over the course of the next couple of weeks, I reckon. Yeah. So, my plan, just so you know, the plan for the videos that are talking about plans, is that I'm going to do a business kind of roundup of 2024 and also talk about my plans for going into 2025, because the Spring Snowflake is going to change for a number of reasons. I'll tell you about that in that video. I'm also going to talk about the works in progress whips that I am going to be taking into 2025. There are a few. You'll see behind me is my trusty cart. There's also some shelves on my Kallax. So yes, that is going to be another one of those videos. And then the other one is I'm going to talk about this fabulous book and planner setup, going back to the original Spring Snowflake. Well, as it was just Sophie Heard, and then talking about the stationery and how I'm planning on letting it help me with my very scattered brain. And in there I'll talk a little bit about, in that video I'm planning on talking a little bit about how my 2024 was in terms of managing myself and how, I'm not going to say fail, how that was challenging for me last year, and how I need to get my act, let's not swear, together in 2025. Tea. I realised this morning I'm drinking from a Starbucks mug that actually keeps heat very well. I realised that I am down to 2 bags of Yorkshire tea biscuit brew this morning, not including this one. So I need to get to the shop and buy some more. It is my favourite tea. I got a tea advent calendar for those who watch Vlogmas. I did get a tea advent calendar from Bird and Blend, and that's been very nice. But this is the tea that I go back to all the time. It's just my favourite. To the point that actually normal Yorkshire tea doesn't taste right anymore, which is a bit bad. Right, let's get into the making, shall we? So, as a Spring Snowflake podcaster, am a crafter. Predominantly crochet, that is my first love. Knitting, second love. Some embroidery, some sewing, some cross stitch. I've got, well, I kind of try everything, really. My craft room really reflects that. The other thing that is business that I do is working with iCord, mostly adding wire to it and creating what I affectionately call woolly wire. Mostly names, some other fun stuff, but that is part of the business, and I'll talk about that in another video. But yes, I'm coming to you today as Sophie, crafter of all the things, but predominantly yarn. Today I'm going to talk to you about the recent finishes. I'm obviously not going to, because I haven't done a podcast like this in months. I'm not going to talk to you about everything I finished in 2024. To be honest, there wasn't a lot because the business took over. But I will talk about 3 things, one of which is on my body. that I finished very recently. I'm then going to talk about the things that I am currently working on. I am trying to be not monogamous because that doesn't work for me, but I'm trying to limit the amount of things that I pick up at one time so that I can get things finished. And I'll talk about those, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about my plans for the immediate future. So in the next few weeks, once I've finished some of the things that I'm working on, and then my kind of making plans that are not business related for 2025. So that's my plan. So let's get into it. So first things first, I'm going to stand up because, good Lord, I love this thing. And we're doing a twirl. If I remember, I will ask my husband to take a picture of this absolutely feral cardigan that I cannot stop wearing. This is affectionately known as my Giddy Gan. It is made up of 60 squares, half square triangles, quarter square triangles if you're a quilter, but mostly granny squares, 8 round granny squares of the Marvellous Monthly Minis Club that Helen of Giddy Yarns brought out in, I want to say 2021? Maybe. I'll have to fact check on that. It was a club where she would send 10 grams of fingering weight yarn. Well, you could choose quite a lot of different options, but I chose the 10 gram, 5 colours a month, and it went through a fade. It wasn't a rainbow. She called it the Marvellous Monthly Minis. We started with the blues down here, and then we ended with, I think, the blues. I had started using making this into a blanket because that's what you do with mini skeins. And then I looked at it. I pulled it all out, and I had started joining it together as a join as you go granny blanket, along with Helen's Narnia Advent. That might tell me what date it was. And also the 12 days, the charity 12 days collaboration box that she did. I had put those 36 minis into the blanket and then had done about half of these and was joining them as I go. And I got it out and I went, I don't want it as a blanket. What else can I do? And I started looking at garments with granny squares, or just squares. I didn't want to undo all the squares that I'd already done. And I came across a free pattern, which is by Barocco, but I think the designer is Amy Christophers. I will pop that up. Everything I talk about will be in the show notes, which is going to be down in the description box. I came across a free pattern called the Ariana cardigan, which is a free pattern on Ravelry by Barocco, but I think Amy Christophers is the designer, which was a spun 45 degrees granny cardigan. Now that was made with worsted weight yarn, Barocco obviously, and mine was fingering weight, my squares were bigger, so I very loosely followed just the joining instructions basically for this cardigan. So the colours are Giddy Yarns Marvellous Monthly Minis. It is if I show you, it is a dolman sleeve. Yeah, dolman sleeve, which I actually really like. I've got quite big upper arms, always have, even at my skinniest I've had big upper arms, so having that extra room is actually really nice, and it hangs really nicely. So I did the joining instructions as per pattern. I unravelled the ones that were squares that needed to be quarters or halves and redid those. And then I used Hey J yarn, who are no longer dyeing anymore, in a Merino Stellina nylon. It's called, it was a special order she did really quite close to the end of when she finished dyeing, called, I think, Love Yourself, which kind of, it has, if I show you that, there we go, it has purples and greens and pinks, magentas, but it has a base of grey, which I just thought was a really nice joining colour. Not quite neutral, but neutral enough not to interfere with any of the other, any of the 60 colours that were in this cardigan. And all of the colours are in this. are in this cardigan. So it is a 61, if you include the border, colour cardigan. It's not quite Joseph, but it's close. One day I will make myself a Joseph cardigan. It's going to happen. So this, I have not stopped wearing it since I finished it in the middle of Vlogmas. It had its first official outing at New Year's Eve to a little get together I get with we do with other families that we've known since before our children were born. We're part of the NCT. That's for you, Lisa. National Childbirth Trust. We did a course before when we were still pregnant, when I was still pregnant, and then we've all kept in touch, which has been lovely. So we always do that at one of their houses on New Year. So one of the children was counting all the colours to make sure that I wasn't lying, and it was 60 colours. So yes, that is my first finished object, affectionately known as the Giddigan, loosely based on the Ariana cardigan on Ravelry. Whenever I put a Ravelry link, I can use it to a certain extent. I still have to be on dark mode. I cannot do it, look at it in light, and I can't be on there for very long because it gives me a headache. So I will point out when there are Ravelry links so that those of you who can't use it avoid. But I don't think it's available anywhere else. Anyway, so that is object number 1. Object number 2 was finished on Christmas Day. It has been over a year in the making. This is... Amelia has called this being Tutta. I no idea why, but it's Tutta, who is based on the pattern Snap, the African Flower Turtle by Heidi Bears. And I love her. Oh, good Lord. I've made one of these now. I don't think I'm going to be making another Heidi Bears, even though I've got like 5 of her patterns. There's a lot of thinking. I probably will at some point, but I'm just not... Yeah, this took 18 months from concept to delivery. It's the thing is awesome. It took a lot of stuffing as well. But yes, this is Snap the African Flower Turtle by Heidi Bears. She is on Etsy, she is on Ravelry. And this is Tutta. I quite like the little inset eyes. I was quite impressed with that. But it's a bit of a labour of love. There's a lot of motifs. You have to really think about colour placement, and I did mine scrappy. So Amelia wanted purples and greens to go with her love of everything Disney Descendants. So this is Mal coloured, for those of you who know Disney Descendants, the franchise known as Disney Descendants. And I think I've done all right. So this is Tutta. Tutta is going back downstairs into Amelia's fort after I finished. But yeah, it was literally, I held, for the most part, all of this is fingering weight scraps that I held doubled. So you'll see, I don't know if that'll focus, yes it will. There's all sorts of different shades of purples and pinks and greens. The green, all the green was the kind of joining colour was West Yorkshire Spinners Colour Lab, so that was DK. And then the purple was a hand dyed, I think it's not Cadbury. I actually don't know where the purple's from. It is hand dyed though, because I can see, but it was DK. So the joining yarn was DK, but the rest of it, the motifs were made with fingering weight held double. Okay, lastly is a tiny finish, but it was my husband's anniversary present, and it is a black and maroon striped hat. The yarn I used was Malabrigo Rios, so worsted weight yarn, and I used the numbers for the Barley Hat, which is a free pattern by Tin Can Knits. I used their app. Their app is brilliant. It's so good. It's so good at kind of taking you through it and making sure you stay in the right place, and when you leave the app and come back, it will take you back to the place that you were. The Barley Hat has a garter stitch panel for about a third of the hat, and I didn't put that in. I did the large size for Chris, and this is the colours of Amelia's and his, actually, hockey club. The hats that they sell is one size, and it is snug. Like, even Amelia says that hat's tight, and she's got one for herself for training. And Chris plays in the adults team, sometimes, not a lot, but he does. So I was like, I'll make you a hat. Unfortunately, this hat is slightly too big, so when he does do anything athletic, it does this. So this is now going to be mine. It is the large size, but with the curls, actually it's better to have a looser hat. And it actually, if I put it on kind of slightly further back, it has a bit of a nice slouch to it. So that's even though this was Chris's anniversary present, I'm going to make him another one. I've got plenty of this yarn left. I haven't actually weighed it. I shouldn't I? Let's weigh it on camera. Let's do that, shall we? I apologise if my table rocks and therefore you get rocked. Hang on. No. 64 grams. So I've probably used 30 grams of one colour and 34 grams of another. So yeah, I can definitely make the next size down. So that, I've skipped ahead, but that will be one of my making plans. Right, those are my finishes. Whips. I have 3 whips currently. Obviously, I have a lot more whips than that. I'm just coming over here to grab stuff. I have a lot more whips than that, but the ones I'm concentrating on right now are 1 crochet, 1 knit, and 1 blocking, and I'll explain now. So my lovely friend Michelle, who is a local friend, we did not meet through crafting, we met through our children, made this gorgeous lace weight shawl. The pattern is A Rainy Day. I don't actually know which is the front and which is the back. I think this is the front. It's A Rainy Day by Romy Hill, or Rosemary Hill. She's obviously put a lot of work into it. She's made a slightly smaller size than the pattern asks for. And she said to me, "So can you block it? Because I have no idea what I'm doing." Now, I've never blocked something as complicated as this with this much ruffle. And I asked Michelle to send me the pattern page. I didn't want her to send me the pattern because obviously I didn't pay for it, she paid for it. But if there was any blocking instructions, she sent me the blocking instructions. And basically, Romy tells you to block it like in a circle, basically, so that you can get points on each of these. Let me show you. So hopefully you can see there's a lot of air that needs to be taken out. Needs to be pulled out of this. And I don't have blocking wires that are flexible enough for that. So this is a whip because I'm trying to work out how to do it right now. One of my lovely friends has suggested using interchangeable knitting needle cables because they're actually quite flexible, but they've got strength to them. So I'm going to do that and see if that works. But having looked at the project pages of some of the people who've mentioned blocking on Ravelry, quite a lot of them have said this took 2 hours plus to pin out. I really like Michelle. Otherwise I would be handing it back to her. Now I have actually soaked this and tried to block it once before. I'm showing you the back. So the stitches have relaxed some. It is bigger than what she gave me. But this is by no means finished. So that is a work in progress. I'm going to try and do that tomorrow, I think. Yeah, I'm not going to do it today. It's cold today. We're due snow later. Okay, second whip that I'm currently playing with is in my Little Grey Girl. Yes, it is Little Grey Girl Snow Globe 2-handled drawstring, I can't remember what the actual name of this is, bag. I love it. It's very easy, pull around, pull out and take. And I am making a sock. It is sock 1. And I am using the West Yorkshire Spinners Fairy Lights colourway, which has been in my stash for a long time. Now, do I have a sock blocker? No, but I have a sock ruler, so we can show you a little bit what we are doing. I am doing a traditional heel flap and gusset. And I have managed to, apart from this slightly bigger stripe of green, I've managed to continue the colour pattern on the top of the sock. Like, so this is the section where I'm doing the gusset decreases. So these 3 stripes are slightly thinner than the ones above them, and obviously the green is larger here. But I'm pretty impressed with that. So yeah, I am merrily working my way down the foot. I started, and I don't know if you can see this, I started with a little garter stripe in the green, and then I hated it and I didn't want to pull it back, so I just left it in, and I'll do the same in the in the second sock, but I did not continue it down. So I did basically a pattern repeat of cuff of 1x1 rib, and then I've done 1, 2, hang on, 1, 2, and 2 pattern repeats and 2 stripes for the leg, which I think is about 60. And then I've done just a slip stitch heel, decreases, and then we'll just continue until I think it's long enough and do I'm not doing contrast, I'm just literally knitting. This is the ball. That's what the yarn looks like in the ball. Quite a lot of you will have seen this in many people's whips. I am doing them 2 circulars. This is my preferred method. I don't like magic loop, it gives me ladders. I don't like DPN, it gives me ladders. I much prefer 2 circulars at a time. And I have a Bertie and Poppet Gnomes DPN holder that is holding my needles together when I'm not working on it. Because we love a gnome, and I'll talk more about those later. So yes, that is a drag around when I feel like knitting. I put quite a lot of pressure on this finger when I'm knitting, so I can't do like hours and hours of small needle knitting because my fingers hurt very quickly. But they're 2.25mm needles, 64 stitch socks, and they are living up here, so I'm putting them back because I've just tidied them well. I'm halfway through tidying my craft room, but it's looking a lot nicer in terms of the projects. Right, last by no means least, I came back to, and some of you will laugh, my 2020 temperature blanket. It is living in a, who's the maker of this bag? Here we go, there is a label, Midwinter Yarns. It's a Midwinter Yarns black linen with foxes lining. I have my Sugar and Sloth What If You Are Already Enough pin. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. I love this bag. It's like a roll down clip type thing. Yes. So I really want to do, and again, we're going into plans, I really want to do a 2025. I've written 2024 in my notes. 2025 temperature blanket. I haven't done, so the last time I tried doing a temperature blanket was 2022 and I failed. I think I stopped around March, which kind of shows you where my head was at in 2022. And I haven't really had the impetus to do one until now. And I saw someone on, and I'm not going to share a photo because that belongs to someone else, but I saw on Facebook someone had done like a calendar, so 2 round granny square, low in the middle, high on the second row, and looks like a calendar, like a January weeks, February weeks, with kind of a neutral in between. So lots of like neutral squares as well as the colours for the year. And I went, oh, I want to do that. And I put it to a group of my friends on WhatsApp, and they all went, but what else do you need to do? I've just spotted an end. Anyway, and I went, well, I've still got my 2020 blanket to finish. And they've all gone, okay, where are you up to? And I went, well, I'm in the middle of October. Finish that, and then you can start a 2025 temperature blanket. So, this is so boring, and I'm so ready to be done with it. But I've been working diligently over the last few days on getting my temperature blanket done, and I haven't got the other ones it's in Chris's office. But currently, I am in the middle of November 2020, so that I started there, and I've done all this in the last few days. It is just bog standard DK acrylic. It's a mix of things like paint box yarn, Stylecraft, Wool Warehouses, Yarnsmith's DK. Like it's just colours that went with the and using up stash. I'm trying not to use business stash, but I also don't want to buy any more yarn, so if I do have to go into the business stash, then I will. So I have on here, it's a 30 stitches, half treble crochet UK, half double crochet US, and I do 2 rows back and forth per day. I actually wrote down all of the temperatures in this little yarn notes book, which I think I got from Vicky Brown. Yeah, it was the Yarn Book Club, which is a Vicky Brown thing years ago. Like 2020, obviously. Hang on. Let's have a look. When did I doubt there's going to be any dates in here. Oh, this is... I used this for when I did the Jinx Fest, and I've had the Jinx Fest for a long time. The last unicorn jumper, which Amelia wore when she was like 4. Wowzers, that's nuts. Anyway, yes, so all the temperatures are in here. I just need to turn them into yarn. So yes, and as soon as I can finish this, then I can start my 2025 blanket. So I'm finishing this. The other one, do you know what? Hang fire. I'm going to go and get the other one. When I say the other one, what I mean is the other 3 quarters. So those are quarterly strips. So the one I'm working at the moment is October, November, December. So I have, hang on, let's make sure we're starting correctly. Yes, okay. So this is January, February, March, and I've basically, oh God, here we go, right, hang on. Okay, okay, so I've basically just, it's gonna be massive when it's done. Whee! And up to there. There is, obviously, because first quarter is shorter because of February, there's more white at the bottom to make sure that everything... third quarter is always... the longest, because you've got June, July, August. 2 of those are 31 days. And then fourth quarter is as long, because December and October are 31 days. Whew, God, that took some thinking. But yes, so I have joined the 3 panels that are already finished. The way I did it was started with a stripe of white, and then in between each of the months there is a stripe of white, which are slightly offset because obviously April only has 30 days, whereas oh God, here we go. July has 31. But yeah, Amelia has already, my daughter, my 8-year-old, has already adopted this even in its unfinished state. So that will be going on her bed when it is finished. My plan is to finish this strip, join it onto that one, and then do a very quick border. maybe 2 or 3 rounds border, and then that's done. Done. Right. Moving on to plans. So, as I've said, I want to make a second hockey club hat for Chris, because I've now adopted the original one. I want to make the 2025 temperature blanket, which I want to start. I've started, obviously, tracking the temperatures so that I can catch up. I need to pull out yarn, which is one of the... not like I try and get in and look at my yarn collection at the start of the year anyway, just to kind of check it over for any beasties, because it's all wrapped in plastic, but they're tenacious little buggers. Like pull out my whips, decide whether I want to keep them or not, and things like that. I also, for those of you who followed along, you know that I run a craft club at a local, what do we call it? It's called The Makery in Wantage. And I run the craft club there, but it's also kind of a stash in there, so you can go in and grab stuff if you need it. There's fabric, there's yarn, there's paper crafting, there's all sorts of stuff that people donate to Helen, who runs it, and then people will come and buy it for pennies. Or it's a kind of pay what you think honesty system. There's Helen, obviously, who runs it. I go in and open it on Friday mornings, and then there's also another lady who opens it on Wednesdays normally. So I've got some stuff. Well, I've already taken some stuff to her, and I'm going to take some more stuff that I just want out of my house. I don't want to earn any money from it. Other plans. I plan to have a big destash of my yarn. I did a destash at the start, probably around Easter time last year, and some of it left, but quite a lot of it still remains. And behind me is basically where my yarn is. So I've got 9 cubbies in this 12 cubby Kallax stash house. That is what is allowed for my yarn, and anything that is over that, something has to leave. It is a 1 in, 1 out situation, which gives me the impetus to use it and not buy superfluously. Good word, Sophie, good word. But yeah, there is a bag kind of down here that is full of the destash yarn from last year that didn't get sold, and then I've been adding a few bits to it. But what I want to do is kind of toss the stash a bit more, go through the stuff that I had earmarked for destash, see if I'm still of the opinion that I want rid, and then do a bit of a clear out. That will be in the form of putting it on the Yarn Snobs Facebook group, putting it on Vinted, because actually a few friends of mine have had actually some good success with selling their yarn on Vinted, and also whatever is not taken and is not of as high a monetary value as I'm concerned, it will go to the East Anglia Yarn Festival, excuse the washing machine. It will go to the EOIF Big Stitch Night swap table. That is my plan. It won't be like the really high-end stuff. I would like to get some money back for, so if it doesn't sell in my destash, then I'll hold on to it for a couple of months and then up it and see what happens there. Okay, other things that are happening. I'm going to move to the side so I can put something here, or 2 things here. I have some plans for 2025, but I know myself. I have had the ADHD assessment. I know that there are things that I need to be aware of about myself and the way my brain is made up, particularly when it comes to focus, particularly when it comes to squirrel, and particularly when it comes to time blindness. So I also know that if I'm going to set myself some goals, particularly crafting goals, they need to be low stakes, they need to be low pressure, and they need to be they need to work with my brain chemistry so I don't get rejection to sensitivity dysphoria, basically. For those of you who aren't, don't, look up some of the stuff about ADHD, but yeah, I went through the assessment. I am not medicated. I'm quite glad about that fact, because it seems like it's quite challenging to get meds at the moment. But that's my preface for talking about this. So, lovely Helen at Giddy Yarns last year started a bingo along, which she's doing again this year, and that is my plan, to try and take part in that bingo along. I did fill in the bingo card last year, and then I promptly forgot, which kind of shows you what 2024 was like for me. So, my bingo card is here. As I film this, I am still finalising what I want to put on my bingo board. So currently, what's on your screen right now is news to me. But I do know that one of those squares will be to participate in Helen and Laura of Folk Yarn Studios, their Grimble Along, Friends That Grimble Together, gnome along. It's unofficial, but they are basically running a year-long, 11-month make along to make the to make 8 of the Imagine Landscapes gnomes. Now, I would really like to make a rainbow of gnomes from the Never Not Gnoming, which is her very kind of simple gnome pattern. I'd really love to make a rainbow of gnomes. So that is definitely going to be, and that's 7 colours technically. So, although I might do 2 colours, so like a red and orange, and then a yellow and a green, and then so actually it might just be I could do 4 gnomes for that. I would really like to, and I don't know how. I'd really like to make myself some gnome earrings, but I don't know actually how feasible that is. But yeah, so the taking part in the Grimble Friends That Grimble Along, Friends That Grimble Together gnome along, is going to be one of those squares. I want to finish my 2020 temperature blanket, so that's an easy win. I want to do a 2025 temperature blanket, that's number 3. I would love to finish another Advent project. I have in my whips an Advent project, which is a cardigan, a Tunisian crochet cardigan, which is made out of the Fibre Fox Advent from a few years ago, the really dark moody one, the forest one. I want to finish making the gingerbread blanket that came out last autumn by Lindsay of Lottie and Albert. I have done the first 2 sections of that, so I'm 2 of 6 already. I want to finish an embroidery project, which I've started 2, and I would really like to finish at least one of them. So it's going to be finishes, and kind of some of the crafts that I've bought and haven't used, and things like that. I think that's going to be the plan. I think I hear my husband's car. They've been out this morning, so actually this might be a good time to stop. So yes, so hopefully while I've been talking, there have been images of my bingo board and also my Grimble Along gnome plans as well, so you can have a look at them, and I will post them to my Instagram as well, so you can see. So for those of you who do want to find me on socials, I am a Spring Snowflake everywhere. I'm also Sophie Swan, Xuan. That is my personal account. To be honest, I'm really bad at posting on socials, but I'm more active on the Spring Snowflake one. As I said at the beginning, you can find me on spring-snowflake.co.uk. That is my website and my business website. But yeah, a lot more stuff will be probably on Instagram, and that automatically posts to Facebook as well. You can find my patterns on both my website, on Ravelry, and also on Love Crafts. And that's about it, I think. They've just come in. I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.